virtual machine, I'll show you. Let's say to create a virtual machine, in top left corner, I go to 3 lines, create a resource, and I'll pick up Windows Server 2016 data center as an option. So create a resource, and then I pick directly this Windows Server 2016. Now see, for me subscription is this one. For you people, it could be Azure Pass or Azure Free Trial, whichever you have activated. Now resource group, you can see there will be nothing because we are doing this for the first time, so it is blank. So we can choose create new button to create a new resource group. Let's say I'll name it as VM-RG, virtual machine resource group, I name it, which means this is a folder. Now VM name, I'll say demo-VM, demo-VM. Now region, it's Southeast Asia, so whatever the region you get in here, leave it, which means in that data center, your virtual machine will get created. Other details you can leave it. Don't change any of them, like image, spot instance, none of them. I don't want to explain these. These are very advanced concepts. For now, we are just trying to understand how these works. So you can skip these. So you see username you have. Let's give my name here. You can give your name here. Password, any password with a capital letter, a small letter, a number, and a symbol you can give. So I gave the password as Azure at the rate of 1234567 8, because your password should be 12 characters length with a capital letter, a small letter, a number, and a symbol. And in those, any three must be there. Now inbound ports, that indicates which are all the ports that must be whitelisted to your server. You can see here RDP port of 3389 is whitelisted. Let's say I'll click the drop down. HTTP port 80, I'll tick this, so that once my VM is created, I can host IIS web server in it and I can try to connect. So I'll just pick RDP and HTTP, so both ports will be open. So that's it. You don't have to do any changes now. Try clicking review plus create in the bottom. This makes a validation for all the settings of your VM. There are many settings in it, like you can pick disk, you can pick networking and more. So if I speak that, I can speak about like 1.5 to 2 hours for just creation of a VM alone. There are many concepts in it. So as discussed, this is to give you a brief introductory part for VMs and everything. So let's see that. Now on clicking create button, see, this is about to create a virtual machine for us. You can see the bell icon. The bell icon shows a notification, deployment in progress, where here you can see a deployment, whichever is going on is in front of you. This could go for 1 to 2 minutes on an average. If you wait for 1 or 2 minutes, the deployment will become successful, so that we can access the virtual machine and we'll connect to it. We'll deploy a web server in the VM and see how they will work. So here we go. The moment your deployment becomes successful, you get a bell icon saying like it's successful. Here as well, it shows like this. In case you click this go to resource button, it directly takes your virtual machine here. Or in top left corner, if you click three lines, you see there is a menu called resource group, which is your folder I discussed. If in case you go to this, you can find out your resource group, which was created by you. I named it as VM-RG. So this network watcher RG is something that gets created whenever a virtual network gets created. You leave that. You see this one, VM-RG, we created it. So when you create the VM, you can see now it's in the resource group, which is type. You can see type. If you see, it's virtual machine. So Atul, you're saying that we are spinning VM, but not clear what exactly it's deploying.
What up, Bablu? Bablu, happy birthday.
Um,
Happy birthday to you.
I think somebody's on mute. Let me unmute them. Okay, so Atul, for your information, we are just trying to see like how a VM is being deployed. So what are all the other components it is deploying? If you see, there are various components in it like public IP, security group, network interface, disk of a VM, virtual network, and etc. So we are not getting in depth with the concept of what those are. We are just understanding the services. We're not going in depth with them. So we just deployed it where the other dependencies of the VM are also getting created. Yeah. Now, so this is demo VM. You can see type to understand what is the resource. So this is the one I click it. So this way I can come to my virtual machine. Or three lines. If you see there is a menu called virtual machines, if you click this, it will show you the available virtual machines. Demo-VM. You can go to this, the one you created now. Now see, there is a connect button. Using this, you can connect to the VM. I'll click connect. I'll say RDP because I'm going to make remote desktop. Now here you can click the download RDP file, which will download the remote desktop file for you. Once you download, you can click this button and open it. You can click on connect to connect the same. You will have to now enter the username and password. Just in case, if you don't know what is username and password, it's your name and the password you gave while creating the VM. Suppose if it is taking your office domain name, just in case, all you need to do, you should repeat this IP in here, like you see this IP of my VM, 104.215.254.248. Just in case, for anybody, if it is taking your office domain name, that is laptop is used as an office laptop and it's taking the office domain name, you can queue like this and your username of the VM, a slash and then username of your VM, and the password of your VM you can give, and clicking OK will try to make a connection to your virtual machine. I think that's 104, 215, 254, 248. Yeah. Anyway, for me, it's not domain joined, so it should work normally. For anybody who's off office devices, you can go this way. Anyway, I'll give directly my name, let's say Kishore, username, and password I'll give. I'll click OK. See, now certificate is coming from demo VM. I'll accept the certificate. Now successfully, I can make a remote desktop connection. Yep, any question? Please be on mute if you don't have any questions. Now see this, I'm into the remote desktop connection to my VM now. This is my VM, which is loading. Now in this VM, I can do anything, which means I can install any software, host any application, deploy a DB, anything that you wish. So this is a Windows Server virtual machine, Windows Server 2016, because I went to create a resource and picked Windows Server 2016 as image. The moment you log into your VM, we see, I'll say you'll get something like this. You click no here, and you get a server manager get open. We don't have to do anything for now. Let's leave it. But you can see it's a VM, which is having all the benefits for you. Now let's say in the VM, I like to deploy a web server. So if I ping to the IP address of the VM, I can access my application. For that, I'll go to Start menu. Windows PowerShell we have, I'll open this. I'll write a command, add-windows feature. And the feature name, I'll say that as web server. So add-windows feature and the name of the feature as web server, which will install the IAS web server in your VM. See, it starts now. So this command, it's helping you to install the IAS web server in your VM. Well, once it is installation is over, you will get web server, which will respond to you when you make a request to the VM. Now, for your information, as I said, if you check the link I gave for the first lab, all these details, the commands which I am writing now, everything with the instructions you have, you can copy from here and execute it, and you can see the output. So you don't really have to worry on how the things work. You can just go through that.
Kishore,
So just
one
wait for this.
question. Yeah,
Hmm?
Kishore, is just one question here. So I mean, the VM is deployed. We can access the VM. So this VM license is embedded with the account in the Azure, or it's a separate
No,
license that we have to
there
procure?
there are two choices. We can go with a choice called hybrid licensing, which means you can use your own license to get discount, or you can completely leave the license part to Azure. So the VM, it's costing me 11 INR a hour per hour, 11 INR, which is considering the charges of CPU core and RAM and also the license usage per hour.
So if this VM is deployed, so there is no charge. If it is running, then it is going to charge me, right?
Then when it is started and running, there is a charge for license and a charge for the VM. When it is stopped, there is no charge for license or VM.
There is no charge for license, and there is no other charge on the Azure also, right?
Yeah. Only when you start that, there is a charge.
Mhm.
But your disk of the VM is separate component that will continuously charge you because your OS and all the data will be in a disk. So there is a disk for your
Okay,
VM you
okay,
can see that is charging you.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
See this now? Welcome. So your web server is installed now. This is the command I ran. I'll minimize it now, which means I'm done with this. I'll go to overview page of the VM by clicking this overview in the left side. That is demo VM. So you can find the public IP address here. Say for example, I'll copy this public IP by clicking here. Now if I browse this public IP in the browser, see this? The web server, IIS web server that I installed in my VM is accessible through this IP, and I whitelisted RDP and HTTP port to my VM, so I'm able to access it. Which means now your admin team or architecting team, they can plan and host the applications in the server and use it. So that's the first demo, an example on deploying a VM and host an application in it. Any questions until this from anyone?
You said whitelisting the IP. So is whitelisting the IP that we have to do as part of that, or what? As part
It
of
is. It is
the
a part of
file.
that. When
Okay.
you follow the instructions I gave you, will understand. There is a step.
Okay. Got it. Mhm.
I think. Yeah, here it is. These are simple things. There are many things in it which I'm like, as I said, we're not getting in depth with anything. This is just a
No,
fundamental knowledge on
yeah,
concepts.
completely understand. Thank you.
Welcome. Now, next lab I'll walk you through then. In case you have any doubts, you can let me know for what I discussed now. The next one is to create a web app.